Hi there, welcome to another episode of BNC's special interview. I'm Mikhail Raj, your host. Today, my guest is Dato Seri. He is the Chief Executive Officer of Fusionex International. Welcome to the show, Dato Seri.
Thanks for having me.
Fusionex is a leader in big data and analytics, but for the common man, can you break it down? What exactly is big data?
Well, big data is a huge phenomenon and it's a game-changing technology. And when we take a look at big data, we need to demystify it. So today we live in an era where we see a blurring of lines between the physical world and the digital world. In the physical world, you see brick and mortar elements such as buildings, pen and paper. So what do we see in the digital world? The digital world is full of data. We see data ranging from multiple channels, a multitude of different sources such as social media, mobility, e-commerce, trade facilitation. You see data ranging from IPTV, RFID, location-based services, GPS, and a ton of different types of data. So how do we store, process, analyze, and really make sense of the data? Because today, as we eat, as we sleep, whilst we're sleeping, whilst we're eating, whilst we're working, lots and lots of data is being generated. So for people, for businesses, this is a huge opportunity, but it's also a huge threat as well. Take, for example, if you have data that comes from e-commerce, whilst you're sleeping, people could be making requests. People might be interested in your products. So this means that there's a huge opportunity to leverage on this to really maximize revenue, increase your sales, and also bring value to the business. And that's what big data is all about.
For those who are uninitiated, perhaps people like me, how can big data and analytics help companies and even individuals?
Well, big data is a really, really powerful platform and really a very powerful phenomenon where you can view it as a crystal ball, where you can use technology to really understand what happened in the past, what we call descriptive analytics, to really understand what was the best-selling products, what were some of your best sales personnel, where your customers coming from, to understand what happened, and then to diagnose and understand why that happened. For example, how do you increase sales? How do you, why was there a dip in revenues? And very importantly, try to use intelligence to be able to predict what could happen and then prescribe how you can improve your sales. So it's really about converging various technologies such as mobility, social media, big data, and also cloud computing to process data to answer the questions that are pertinent to you. And that's the billion-dollar question to say that, what am I doing well? What am I not doing so well? How can I improve my business? How can I make my products more sellable? And what do I need to do to be able to do things better, faster, and more efficiently? That's what big data is all about.
So basically, you ascertain market trends for companies, which is very vital for their products and services, which previously they couldn't do.
Exactly.
Traditionally. Okay.
Exactly.
That's right. Fusionex also specializes in artificial intelligence and deep learning. Can you share with us what exactly is artificial intelligence and deep learning? And basically, how are they related to big data?
Yes. Yeah. So today in the fourth industrial revolution, you would have heard of Internet of Things, you would have heard of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and all these things coming together. Artificial intelligence is really about training the system, which is computers, to really behave and think like human beings in as close as possible a manner. Whereas machine learning and deep learning is really about throwing the computers with a load of data and allowing the systems and the computers to process this data at speed and at scale to really make decisions and to really learn from it, to really identify certain patterns and correlations so that you can come up with prescriptive actionable items. When you bring these two things together, you really have a very intelligent system that really is able to answer lots and lots of questions.
Okay. So companies, the way they do things traditionally with big data analytics, how will this impact the decision-making process for companies which are involved in products and services and trying to get a competitive edge in the market?
Yeah, so we see lots of businesses that are thriving. We also see lots of businesses that are struggling as well. Yeah. And in this very modern era, the notion that I don't know what I don't know is no longer good enough. Having big data analytics and intelligence is no longer a luxury, but it's actually a necessity. What I mean by that is that if we need to understand what's happening in the landscape, why am I doing well, why am I not doing well, what are my competitors doing, if I don't know all this information and I just use gut feel, my competitors might know about what's happening. So that puts us at a significant disadvantage. So companies that leverage on technologies like big data and AI and machine learning will be able to say that I will be able to connect multiple dots from various departments, be it sales, be it finance, be it social media, be it PR, be it products, be it inventory, be it supply chain, and be it anything that happens in and across our organizations, to ask a very pertinent question and get that answer not within weeks and months or years, but get that answer within seconds or minutes. And that's why big data is so powerful to be able to answer billion-dollar questions and very crucial questions to make well-informed decisions, to become a data-driven society and organization.
So the message I get is that companies cannot afford to ignore big data. They have to join the bandwagon. Otherwise, they might lose their competitive edge and they will lose out the market share. Is that right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Today you see lots of retailers, you see lots of manufacturers, you see lots of players who are brick and mortar who say that I'm not sure what's happening in technology and I don't know what's happening, but I rather stick to my old ways of doing things in the traditional way. Yeah. Now these kind of companies are at risk of losing market share or perhaps being a bit complacent and sometimes just fading away and becoming obsolete. You see lots of disruptive businesses, whether it's an Airbnb, whether it's an Uber. You see lots of very nimble, agile players that are coming to the forefront. Okay. And traditional businesses cannot afford to be complacent and really lag behind. Any businesses, in our opinion, has to embrace this digital wave to look at a convergence between domain expertise, between technology, and to really process data much quicker. And again, that's storing, processing, analyzing, and making sense of the data so that when they want to make decisions, they can make decisions in a fast, agile, and a data-driven, and a well-informed manner.
Fusionex was in the news recently, and you partnered with Alibaba Cloud. What is this partnership all about, and what can we expect from this partnership?
We're very excited and very delighted with the partnership that we've signed with Alibaba Cloud. I think it's a game-changing and a visionary kind of partnership where two parties and two organizations really are aligning our visions. Fusionex being a leader in data technology, we help customers process data really, really quickly and really, really efficiently and also cost-effectively as well. And we want to bring this not just to the large organizations, the large MNCs, but also to multiple sectors, including the small and medium enterprises, which really forms the crux of lots of job opportunities here in Malaysia and also in the region as well. Alibaba Cloud, on the other hand, has superb technology in cloud computing, and they have a similar vision, which is to empower and power up many of these companies, regardless of shape and sizes, to be able to embrace digital technology. So together, this coming together of a strategic alliance between Fusionex and Alibaba Cloud, we believe will be the best of both worlds, to be able to strengthen both parties, to bring about a holistic solution for digital transformation for any organization, and we want to do that in a very committed way.
So how will this impact Malaysia and the ASEAN region going forward? Because they just set up this partnership and all that. So in what way will Malaysian companies gain, and how will the region gain, and whether our companies can go and penetrate the region because of what you have to offer?
I think technology itself, in terms of what we're providing to the companies, we see certain real opportunities for them, because many of the companies that we've actually spoken to have actually confided in us and shared with us that either they're facing, they want to embrace technology, but sometimes they face shortage in terms of investments, whether it's funding, whether it's resources, whether it's technology, whether it's skill sets. By bringing this to them in a democratized way, what we believe we can do is to bring this to them in any shape and size, so that they don't need to be too concerned about the investments that they need to put in place. We want to make it very affordable. So we think there's a great opportunity for leverage on this data technology platform powered by cloud computing to be able to reach out through the internet to a much wider audience. So up until not too long ago, you would view the physical world as China being the largest in terms of population, 1.38 billion, and then you would view India as 1.32 billion. But recently, Facebook announced they have more than 2 billion members on their platform. So you can see that there's a blurring of lines, and again, people would have a mindset shift to view the addressable market, your potential clients, not just by physical, territorial, geographical boundaries, but also to look at the digital world as your potential clients as well. Now, by empowering SMEs and organizations to be able to have this technology, we would actually put them on an equal level and playing ground to be able to reach out to a much wider audience. And with that, we believe that they'll be able to increase their sales, their marketing, their traction, and also a much wider audience. And that's what we hope to bring to the table to organizations in Malaysia and also in this region as well.
Having said that, the pertinent question now is, are Malaysian companies still lagging behind in embracing big data analytics? And even then, there's a question of Malaysian companies not embracing the digital technology, not embracing automation and things like that. So now it's BDA. So are they lagging behind in this embracing this BDA?
I would think there is not a one-size-fits-all situation in Malaysia and also in any country. There are companies who are very forward-thinking, who want to move ahead and who want to stay ahead of the curve, and they are investing time, effort, money to be able to really power up the digital technologies, working with companies and partners like Fusionex. But at the same time, the reality is there are many companies who are just perhaps playing a wait-and-see game. There are companies who say that I'm not up for this. There are companies who might have the wrong perception that business intelligence, big data, artificial intelligence, and any digital technology requires huge amounts of investments, and perhaps they are not willing to take up this challenge to embrace technology. So I think there's a combination of different types of companies. We would like to work with companies that are forward-thinking so that they don't need to worry too much about the investments. We've spent lots of money in terms of R&D, and we want to share this with them, and also we want to work with good partners to do this. So are there companies lagging behind? Certainly yes. Are there companies who are forward-thinking? Absolutely yes as well. We hope that the latter would be the one that would be the companies that would be moving forward, because companies that remain complacent will lag behind, and we are always very concerned that because of technology, they might fall aside, and also they might become obsolete, and that's our concern. But if they're willing to embrace this challenge and rise up to the occasion, now is the time, the future is here. The technology wave is going to allow them to have a window of opportunity to reach out to a much wider audience and to grow their businesses.
Yeah, a lot more to talk about, especially the costing and all that, but we'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll talk more about big data analytics. Welcome back. Dr. Seri, talking about big data analytics, what kind of costing, the million-dollar question, what kind of costing does BDA involve? Will budgeting be a problem for Malaysian companies? I'm sure that's the first question that they will ask, Is it going to cost a bomb?
Absolutely. I think some of the organizations, when they think of big data, there is a myth that it's going to be, because of the word big, they think it's going to be a big budget. They think it's going to be a big and huge cost that's associated with big data. In actuality, big data is not really about the size that really matters. It's also, big data also comes with a lot of other elements such as velocity, such as variety, and most importantly, the value that we can bring to each customer. And in essence, what we're really trying to say here is that it doesn't matter whether a customer is a large conglomerate, a big MNC, or small and medium enterprises, or even a micro business. What we want to do is to allow it to be affordable for everyone. We want the technology to be made available so that we can level the playing ground to allow them to reach out to and grow their businesses. And there is a pay-as-per-use model that we can offer them. There is a transaction model that we can use. There is a scale-up and pay-as-you-scale-up model that we can offer, and also really allow them a utility model. So what that means is that it doesn't need to be a multi-million-dollar contract. You can start from anything as small as, any amount that we can talk about, and also we can actually grow the business, whether it's tens of thousands, whether it's hundreds of thousands. It's something that we can actually grow with them, or even smaller than that as well.
So you can tailor-make solutions for them.
That's right. So for example, if a customer starts with a smaller data size, if it starts with a few departments, if it starts with one branch or versus and it grows to 10 branches, then we allow them to scale. So the customers see value in this because, one, when they embrace such technology, they want to see the return on investments. They want to see that there's growth in sales, there's growth in revenue, there's increase in profitability, there's an improvement in operational excellence. And all these things coming together, we believe is a perfect storm for us to offer them this as real value to their businesses. So we're really able to start small, scale, think big, and allow them to scale fast.
So to break it down, BDA, can you provide some examples of how big data analytics has helped Malaysian companies on, or which sectors have really gained from this new phenomenon?
We believe that every industry and every organization would require big data analytics and intelligence in their own way. Let me give some examples in terms of what we've done in Malaysia and also in the region. For a large retailer and for a mid-sized retailer, what we're able to do for them is to be able to help them decompose their data, to be able to understand the high volume data, the high volume inventory, and also the high margin inventories. So they know where to focus on the high profit items, and they know where to focus on the fast moving items and the slow moving items. We're also able to help them predict based on certain factors such as seasonality, such as weather, to say that do you need to stock up more umbrellas, for example, because the rainy season is actually approaching. You don't want to get into a situation where you go to your store and then you've run out of umbrellas. Here you've lost opportunities, you've also have dissatisfied clients as well. Similarly, if an influenza an outbreak is there or an epidemic outbreak is there, do you need to have a pharmaceutical company that would stock up more drugs for perhaps flu and cough and cold and things like that? So a lot of this intelligence allows companies, retailers to be able to benefit by managing their supply chain in a much more effective way, in a much more accurate way, and not being reactive, but being more proactive to be able to do this. These are the million-dollar questions that people have. And for perishable items, let's say you're a food and beverage outlet in Malaysia, you need to know how many people will come and order salmons and how many people will come and order chicken and fish and so on and so forth, so that you keep your food fresh instead of having oversupply or shortage of some of these ingredients, which could again result in customers being dissatisfied. That's one area in terms of retail, F&B, and also a lot on e-commerce. You're able to identify patterns where your customers coming from. Are they from Europe? Are they from Malaysia? Are they from Singapore? Are they from Thailand? Are they from the US? Are they from China? And how much are they buying? What are they buying? Which are your most popular products? Which are the best SKUs? This is one sector of retail e-commerce that is very big. For the medical and the healthcare sector, we use big data to offer benefits to them by understanding where are the long queues. Why are there long queues? Why are patients queuing up? Why is there a long wait time from one end to another? Are the equipment, are the machinery highly utilized, or are they underutilized, or is it because of poor scheduling? Is it because of lack of medical officers or specialists? What can we do to make the patient experience as painless as possible, given that they're already in pain and they're already suffering? So how do we shorten the queue? How do we improve wait time? How do we give them the best prescription? How do we analyze patterns to identify from an epidemic outbreak? Where did the root cause actually start from? Is it a certain area? Let's say dengue, if there's an epidemic outbreak, can we find which are the areas that are affected? Perhaps there are some stagnant water and sorts of other areas that are causing this epidemic outbreak. So based on data such as the address of these people, you're able to cluster them and find that perhaps there's a trend that shows that most people from a certain area are having dengue. And this could be another area. So that's in terms of healthcare. There's a lot of analysis that we can do for patient diagnosis to make them to make things really much better and more efficient.
So it's not confined to business alone. It also involves medical or humanitarian issues or disasters to provide quick answers and solutions in getting the data and analyzing them.
That's right. And also for manufacturing, for example, if you take a look at the manufacturing sector, there's lots of data that's being generated. Sensors, humidity, pressure sensors, read, write, and IOs. How do we use that data to predict a downtime before it even happens? A downtime, for example, in a factory or a plant could result in reputational damage, could result in perhaps financial implications, could result in huge losses, but also sometimes it could result in lots of accidents and even an explosion. So how do we use historical data to process that, to understand symptoms that happened in the past, to be able to see that if similar symptoms happen in the future, you are then able to predict and say that a next downtime could be imminent. Again, that's being very proactive to make the factory more efficient, safer, more reliable, and at the same time quality assured in terms of identifying certain defective units and avoiding poor quality incidents. So there's a ton of things that we do for customers, but essentially it's bringing value to them to increase their revenues, strengthen their profits, reducing their wastage, inefficiencies, improving their operational excellence, but also to make things faster, safer, and better. That's what we bring to the table.
Okay, what is the linkage between big data analytics and social media, which is being touted about a lot these days?
Yes.
So what is the linkage between them?
Social media data is one of those data sources that is growing in an exponential way. So we see Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and of course in Northern Asia and China, you see more than 50, 100 different kinds of social media channels, ranging from Youku and also lots of things like WeChat and so on and so forth. So how do we mine this data that's in the public domain about customer sentiments, about feedback that people provide to organizations? So if you're a hotel, what are people saying about you? Do they like your service? Do they like your food and beverage? Do they like your ballrooms? Do they like your facilities? Or perhaps they're unhappy with certain areas in your hotel. Perhaps they're not happy with the front desk. Perhaps they're not happy with the hygiene factors and lots of things. So there's a lot of feedback through social media channels that would come to any organization, regardless of whatever products and services you offer. With big data, you can mine all this information so that when management wants to know what's happening, what's good and what's bad, they can get very precise data and also make decisions in a very well-informed way. And that is a very powerful means of communication today, because gone are the days where people write letters and mails and complaints, but people rather resort to social media and online channels to vent out either their satisfaction or their frustrations as well.
You came out of working with big companies and started off on your own, which is a big risk. And I'm sure people are telling you why you're leaving these companies and all that. But now you've turned into a global company, a regional giant and all that. Tell us about your footprint regionally and globally, and what are your future plans?
Well, today Fusionex is in 15 countries. We cover 3 main regions, namely the United States, Europe, and also Asia Pacific, where we're growing very, very rapidly. We view the world in a very global way. We started from humble beginnings. We came from companies like Intel, from Hewlett-Packard, from Accenture, and we've grown Fusionex with a DNA to believe that there is no problem that's unsurmountable. So we believe that in our organization, we have a saying that our people have data for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They eat and breathe data. When we see a problem, when we see data, they get excited about it. Sometimes it's very painful. Many a time it's a journey, but we will spare no expense, and we're very committed to solve data problems for anyone. We want to process data for any organization, any size, in as fast as possible a manner. We help customers define and work with them to say that what is your vision, what is your goal, what is your objective. We find the shortest path for them and the most effective route for them to get to their destination. So our vision is really to power up companies of any shape and size and to allow them to use data to make their businesses better, faster, more secure and more reliable. That's what we do.
Fusionex, what is your staff strength? And basically the most important question is, how do you find talent?
Yes, so talent, Fusionex has the largest data technology and data science team in this region. What we do is we have hundreds of people that actually process lots of data, and we have lots of other teams like project teams and R&D engineers and also data scientists. Finding talent is not difficult, but finding good talent and suitable talent is extremely difficult. And retaining them is also not easy as well. So what we see in the organization and also globally is that we cut across 3 main regions, and finding this talent is not about finding a ready-made talent, but we rather find them with the right attributes, the right qualities, the right attitude, the right kind of foundational values and skills. Then we train them to be able to grow them to be the right personnel, to give them all-round view, to be analytical, to be all-round in terms of understanding businesses, to be able to think about what it means to bring value to our customers. So what we're really trying to say is not plucking somebody from a university or from another company that will suit the DNA of Fusionex, but we rather see that perhaps they have some attributes, key attributes, such as attitudes and such as the right skill sets to start off with, but we're willing to train them, to grow them to be a holistic champion and also to be a holistic
You mentioned universities. Can you talk about awareness and education briefly, that? So how do you plug this talent, and is there awareness shortage here, of companies or people or education or universities for producing digital scientists?
Yeah, so I think this digital world is a very challenging and a very exciting one. The job opportunities that we see today are different to the job opportunities that are going to be available in the next 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Today, what we are providing to the talent that we see from universities and from the industry is really training them to be experts and really skilled personnel that can be the channel for the jobs of tomorrow. So what we're really trying to say here is that we have to work with universities to collaborate with them. They are very good academy, and we as the industry players want to share with them what the industry requires, not today and not yesterday, but what the industry will require in the years to come. The jobs that we're looking for are high-paying jobs, are skilled jobs, knowledge workers. These jobs might not have existed yesterday and might not exist today, but we want to provide them with the industry know-how and grow these people to reach the next frontier.
Okay, Dato Seri, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Okay. This has been BNC's special interview. Until the next time, have a productive day ahead.